It's going to be great. It's going to be so great. I just realized that this is our first 500 call sent of the month. And so like all of these amazing things have happened over these last few days. I already feel like there's been a month because we've had lots of enrollments, new VIPs, new market partners. Hopefully you guys are feeling the momentum that's happening this month. July, it has really started off with a bang. Pun intended. But you guys, it has been an incredible month already, and we are only on day 6. And so a lot of exciting things, a lot of money out there on the table. Hopefully you've sat down and you've looked at what like the guaranteed money that's out there for you to make this month, whether it is maintaining a rank, whether it's re-ranking or double stacking those bonuses and doing all the things. There is so much money out there to be had. And that's not what this call is about. We're actually going to be talking today a little bit about 3-way calls. This is like a lost art. I feel like a lot of people don't utilize them like they should. I know back in the very beginning of my business and in the beginning of some of my early market partners, this was how we built our teams. That and events were the most crucial things in getting new market partners and new VIP customers on our team in one night. Guys, people were ranking up within a night or within a week because they were utilizing these very important things. And so tonight we're going to actually be talking about the importance of 3-way calls, how you can utilize them. And we're going to kind of bounce off of each other just to give you our top tips. But I will tell you this, Monica and I were just in Oklahoma with the Rev University. It's an Ann Fisher event that she does. And we heard from some of the top income earners in the entire company talk about how they use 3-way calls to grow their business. And you guys, they do them in a very systematic way. They also do it in a way that is going to continue the conversation and hopefully lead to a decision. I think that's one of the biggest things we have to remember is like when you get somebody on a call, it's not necessarily a script. It's literally just guiding a conversation in the hope that there's a decision that's made in the end. And so that's kind of what we're wanting to talk with you guys about tonight. And so raise your hand or drop a yes or no in the comments if you have ever done a 3-way call for money. Have you ever done a 3-way call for 1-8? Okay, Jen has. I know I have. Tasha has. Awesome. Middle school doesn't count. No, middle school does not count. I'm loving all these things. So, chances are you haven't. And I want to talk really quickly about, and I'm going to get into your mind here. And the reason probably you haven't is because you think they sound weird or strange, or inviting somebody to hop on a 3-way call seems icky or salesy, right? That's normally what we do is we put this negative thing in our mind of what somebody else is going to think. It's called red light story. And we do that before we even jump into what it's going to be. You guys, it doesn't have to be that way. It honestly can be as simple as telling somebody, you know what? I feel like you could really connect with my friend, Jennifer Sanzo. You guys remind me of each other. I would love it if we could hop on a call together and you could just hear a little bit on why she loves this business, because I have a feeling that it's gonna be similar to yours. Would you be okay with hopping on a call? You guys, that's just a scenario of some sort. There are so many different ways that you can invite somebody into a call. If you want it to be more personal or more professional, you can even say, hey, I would love to give you the right information. I'm pretty new at this. So would you mind hopping on a call with my upline just so I can make sure all of your questions are answered? You guys, there are ways that we can invite people into this conversation that doesn't have to feel icky. And there are even times where I've been on a call and I said, hey, you know what? I would actually love to bring somebody else in because you're asking some questions that I don't really know the answer to. Would you be okay if I call XYZ? And they're like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I can't tell you back when in the very beginning when I was trying to grow a global business, right? I was working on the UK and I was working on Australia and I'd really never done that before. And so I remember calling Ann and I'm like, hey, Ann, would you mind hopping on a phone call? And she's like, no, yeah, let's go. So if you're thinking your upline doesn't want to do it, they do. They want to help you. They want to be there for you. They want to help you seal the deal. And so don't be afraid to ask. I actually have a few market partners and I need to reinstill this where I would tell them, if you have somebody that's interested and you want to hop on a 3-way call, send me a number 3.
Thank you.
It was text me a number 3. And when they did, if I was available right then, I would hop on a 3-way call. There was one time I wasn't available. when her prospect was available. So I called Monica and I was like, Monica, are you available to hop on a three-way call for me? And she did. You guys, I would encourage you to implement this into your business. Have your upline say, talk to your upline. Hey, if I implement this into my business, I have my new market partner say, text me a 3. If I'm not available, can she then go up the line? You guys, it works. And I think that girl signed up the next day. And so it does work. These three-way calls are super powerful. So I'm going to give you my 2 top tips really quickly, and then I'm going to let Jen or Monica kind of piggyback off that. And then I'm actually going to share some of these tips that Kendall Weldon and I don't remember her name, Jessica shared with us. And I'll share them with you in just a little bit. But my number 1 tip when it comes to inviting somebody to a three-way call is to don't trick them into the call. That was a strategy that I kind of used that was taught to me like through, I think, a podcast. And it was like, you're set up the call and then just like you're on the call and all of a sudden it's like, hey, so I invited my upline to be on the call with you. So this is Monica. She's going to be on the call with us. Don't do that. And I've done it before, and it really turned off the 2 market partners that I did it to, and they did not become market partners. The 2 prospects that I did it to, because they were like, they immediately were caught off guard. They were immediately onto the defense, and they immediately were like, oh my gosh, what's happening? They felt bombarded. Okay. So that's my number 1 tip, because I know that that's a tip that you get from some people. Take it or leave it, but it has not worked successfully for me. My second thing that I would give you as a suggestion or as a tip when it comes to three-way calls is to make them short and sweet. This doesn't need to be an hour-long conversation. Tell them, hey, would you mind hopping on a quick call, 15, 20 minutes with my upline, just where I want to chat with you. Make sure we give you the information so that you can make an educated decision whether this could be a good fit for you, right? So you get them on the call. You're going to edify that person that's on the call. I'm not going to go into all that because I want Monica and Jen to be able to chat a little bit. But what you're going to do after that is you're going to have a simple conversation back and forth, starting with some questions, which I'm going to help you with in just a little bit. But then as the third person that's come in, at some point you exit the conversation. Okay. You're going to exit the conversation. You're going to keep it short and sweet. And you're going to say, you know what? Thank you so much for having me on this call. I've got a few other calls lined up. Even if you don't, you guys, it shows that you're busy. It shows that you've got momentum happening. I've got some other calls lined up. I'm going to leave you and Monica to chat for a little bit. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for having me. And you get off the call. Guys, you do not need for this to be a super long conversation for all 3 of you. Leave it for that upline, the direct person, if the conversation wants to keep happening. Okay. But set those parameters, set the expectation for the people. 15, 20 minutes. You have 15, 20 minutes to hop on a call. And if they choose to have the call last longer, then that's a different story. And actually, as the personal person who's wanting to sponsor, I make sure I set out at least 45 minutes because I want to make sure I have enough time. But when I'm the third party coming in, I'm really only setting up like 15, 20 minutes and then I'm out of there because I want it to be a conversation that's quick and fast and it shows that it's duplicatable. If somebody thinks they have to hop on a call with somebody for an hour every single time they want to sign somebody up, they're going to be like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't want to do this. Just sign me up as a VIP. So, all right, Jen or Monica, do you guys have anything you want to add on to that before I talk about some of these top tips?
I'm just so glad that you brought, I'm just so glad you brought up not surprising them, because that's a tactic that I was taught that like 100 years ago when I was with another company, and it is the ickiest thing. I mean, think about it. Like, oh, surprise, there's a stranger listening in on this phone call. Like, and I made the joke before about middle school because, I mean, this is how old I am, is like back in the olden days, like that's how you'd find out if a boy liked you, is like your best friend would like call him and try to get dirt, and you'd sit there like this, like in your retainer, and like wait to hear what he says. But that's maybe that was just me, but that was the thing that happened in the 90s for all you youngins on the call. So we don't want to be the creeper. We don't want to be the creeper listening in. We don't want to ambush anybody, because it puts them on the defensive. So if you're feeling weird about the three-way call thing, you really just need to shift your perspective and understand, okay, so what is the purpose of having a three-way call? It's so they get a third-party validation. So somebody other than you, who has a different story than you, who has different experience from you. So it helps that person come to a decision because they're getting more information. Maybe you're brand new and this person will be able to answer questions that you'll like get like caught up about because you feel like you don't know all the things yet. So if you understand why you are doing it and know that this isn't like okay, we don't let them off the phone until they sign up, like weird high pressure ambush, there's nothing to feel weird about. It's literally just another person that's sharing their perspective and giving that person more information so that they can make a decision either way. So I always say that about our events too. I say, this isn't like, here's your catalog, here's your order form, you know, nobody leaves till they buy something. That's not what we do. It's the same thing with a three-way call. This is just a way for you to meet somebody else in the business, get your questions answered, hear her story, whatever it is, and be able to make a decision. So I think that really helps the process along too, is understanding the why behind it. It's not scary.
Yes, to all of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to piggyback off that and what Amy said too. Okay. So when you have this person on the call, you want to make sure that have them bring their questions with them. Say, what's on your mind? You know, have your questions ready for my friend, Monica, Jen, Amy, and she can help get them answered. Because when I've been doing this for a while now. Let them speak. This call is not about you and everything. This is not about your blocks that you built last month. It's not about the Bahamas trip you just earned. It's not about the 17 Vegas trips you've been on. It's not about you. Everything on this call is about that person getting their questions answered and how this is going to help them. And I would ask them, how much are you needing a month for this business to work for you? And that could transpire into other questions too. And maybe they have concerns behind those. So I think, you know, letting them speak, you know, and then you can kind of elaborate a little bit and then ask another question, you know, how much are you wanting to make? And then I think it's okay too, to ask if they have like, you know, certain dreams or goals that they're wanting to pursue that maybe they haven't been able to do that. Like ask them like, what's their why in their life? Have they ever thought about something like that? And I know that can get a little bit like in depth. You don't have to go deep dive into that, but I think that just triggers stuff too, that you can, you know, help them like keep the conversation going. Because I think even in this business where we are doing this many moons later, you hear it from every personal development trainer, speaker out there. What's your why? Go back to your why. And I think, you know, when you can know that with your market partner and your prospect, you can help your new market partner, you know, kind of coach them and how to continue the conversation outside of the phone call too. So I think those are some of my big tips. And then as far as follow up, lead them to the next thing, whether it be an opportunity call, maybe you've got like a meet money happening or something like that. Lead them to the next thing so they know that they can get people plugged in. And maybe you can say, hey, you know what, you're interested? Do you have friends interested? Because we have a call coming up tomorrow where we can jump on. There's some other people telling their stories and it's just going to start triggering things. Like, you know, it's just going to help keep their wheels spinning too. So always have something else on the calendar, which everybody should anyway, on the calendar that you can invite them into next. So those are some of my tips.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm literally going to read through some of these tips that Kendall and Jessica gave us. They did a whole presentation at Ann's thing about three-way calls, and they're kind of bullet points, which I like because it's going to be easy if you are a note taker or if you're watching the replay of this to kind of be able to put those through. But one of the things that she said was make sure in the back of your mind that you keep the 3 Ps in the back of your mind. You want to cover the 3 Ps at some point: product, people, and pay at some point. Now, you know, like let the conversation flow, but at some point you're going to want to bring up product, people, and pay. If you don't know what pay is, that's our compensation, that kind of stuff. Get like some of your key words or phrases that you would say about our pay. The people, we're family oriented, you know, talk about the community, talk about your specific people and the culture that you have on your team. And then the product, obviously brag about our product. What makes it different? Why is it important? Why is it in the right space at the right time? Okay. And get to know, this one was kind of off to the side, but she said, if you can know their color personality, that's helpful. I don't really want to go into that whole thing, but it is a really great book that if you want to, it's called The Color Personalities of MLM. So good. If you can kind of learn, I will say, if you can learn just a little bit about the person, you know, their color personality, you can tailor this three-way call so much better. And it's actually super helpful outside of three-way calls, even just like how you're reaching out to people. So maybe we should do like a whole 500 Club video about the color personalities, because that's such a great one. Okay. Tell them it's going to be about 15 minutes. All right. And you're going to tell them what to expect. Make sure there's no surprises. I'm going to be getting you on a call. I'd love to chat with you 15, 20 minutes. We're just going to educate you more about what this is so that you see if you can be a good fit for this. Right? We're just going to educate you more about what this is to see if it could be a good fit for you. And then these next few things, I loved all of these questions. These are literally questions for you to listen to help solve problems. Okay. These are questions that you can ask as the person coming in, as the three-way caller, right? So for instance, I have my prospect and Monica is the third party coming in. So these would be questions that she would ask after I have introduced her, I have edified her, which means just like talk her up, right? I'm also going to give some of the hard parts of my upline's journey, my third party's journey. So this is my upline, Monica Hobbs. She came into this business about 7.5 years ago. She, was struggling financially, just looking for something that she could be passionate about. In just a very short amount of time, she found out that this was something she really wanted to do. And I'm just so excited for her to chat with you. She's a $1 million earner in the company. So she truly has done amazing things. I can't wait for you to hear from her. I edified her. I explained a little bit about her, right? So you're just going to spend that, maybe was 30 seconds. So it's not very long, but just something to explain who are they talking to? Why should they listen to her and what she's gone through? Because we know that stories are what connect people. So show the hard parts of what that person has gone through, that struggle. All right. These are the questions. You guys ready? Listen for problems by asking these questions. So how do you guys know each other? This one I actually love, because then that gets them to break down and be able to tell their story a little bit. Let them talk. Another question is, how does why does this interest you? Why does this business interest you? What is interesting to you? Let them talk. Another one, why do you want to learn more about Mon8? You guys, again, letting them talk. There is so much that can come out from these questions that will lead the rest of your conversation. Another thing, have you ever tried Mon8? This is a great one. Let them already tell their story if they've tried Mon8, okay? Have you done network marketing before? This question is very powerful, because I'm telling you what, maybe you come across somebody who says, I have done network marketing before. I've been very successful at it and I'm looking for another opportunity, and maybe they have never even talked about it. Right? This could bring up a whole can of worms, right? Another thing is, what question? And so after you've kind of carried on the conversation, this is kind of at the end. This is at the end now, after you've started the conversation, you've gone back and forth after asking these questions. Then you say, okay, so what questions do you have? Let them ask questions. Remember, we are just guiding the conversation. And I'm going to coin it. I won't coin it. I'll give you credit. It's a conversation, not a presentation. That's what Sanzo said. And I love that. I'm going to be using that. So it's a conversation, not a presentation. And then I love that this was how to kind of wrap it up. If you guys struggle with this, I struggle with wrapping it up, because I feel like there's etiquette and there's like, what do I say right now? Because I don't want to look mean or rude. Like, I got to wrap this up and not like make them hate me. This is what she said, is she goes, you know what? I know you're busy and I'm busy. I just want to say thank you so much for having me on this call. I'm going to hop off. I got some other things I got to do, but I'm really excited to have you on our team. I can't wait to see you on the next team call. Okay. You have assumed the sale. You've said you're busy. I gotta go. I want to thank you for your time, and I can't wait to see you on our next team call. Okay. You are assuming the sale. Now, these next two tips I love. This is going to be for after Monica has left and it's just me and my prospect now. All right. Here is a tip that they said has literally grown their organization, and they've had rank advancements over this past quarter, really ramping up. And it's because of the 5-week challenge. If you guys haven't been doing that, it was the 5-week challenge that was from Jessica, and these 3-way calls. And this thing that she says is she gets to the point of whether they want to do this or not, right? She asks the question. So what are the chances? Are you ready to hop in? What questions do you have? Let's say she says, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. Awesome. Can you get 2 people on a call with me today so we can get you to MMP right away? Guys, game changer. She's already in the rhythm, feeling like this got me sold. I'm excited. And she said, hey, can you get 2 people on a call with me today so that we can get you to MMP right away? You guys, how awesome would that be to be able to immediately, she's already experienced it. She's excited. Get signed up and go and talk and find 2 people and let's get them excited, right? And then another thing to do right after that, I'm going to start this chat. So if you have any questions, we can get to it before you join. So let's say they aren't making a decision. They aren't making a decision, not quite ready yet. You know what? I'm going to start a chat between the 3 of us so that as you are working through this and asking questions, it'll already be there before you join. Let's get you started that way. Okay. So those were like the top tips that they gave me. And I don't know, I literally was just reading from my notes. So hopefully you guys learned something there. I'm looking through this and I'm literally mad at myself that I have not implemented any of those tips that she gave us back in June. And so I'm excited now, even talking to myself like, okay, I got to do this. So I'm going to challenge you guys over this next week to have at least one. Now, I'm not even saying like 5, I'm saying 1. Have at least 1 3-way conversation this week. Okay. Talk to your upline. Let them know that this is your goal. Say like, hey, okay, this is what I want to do. Are you down for doing the 3-way call with me when it happens? I guarantee your upline is going to be like, yes, let's do it. Let's make it happen. All right. So who's going to do it? Who is going to do at least 1 3-way call this week? Any of my girls doing this? Sign me up, Monica. All right. I see hands. Okay. All right. Jen, you want to close this out?
That just blew my mind. Because I mean, okay, been doing this over 7 years and it never once occurred to me to be like, okay, you're signing up. Great. You have 2 friends who want to pop on a call later on tonight? Like never once occurred to me ever. But that's so powerful, because just imagine the momentum that person is going to have. Let's say they just get 1 person on the phone. Like what would start happening in your business if you sign people up and they immediately sign somebody up? Okay, well, just like, I mean, math isn't my gift, but it would double because every person would turn into 2 people. Okay, so it's just, I mean, sometimes this is why it's so important to go to events and go to training and hear from other leaders and not just stay in your bubble, because sometimes it's like the tiniest little nugget that can change your business. And that's just one little phrase in a 3-way call, in a conversation that you can implement that really could have cascading effects in your business. So that's what's really exciting. That's why we do these calls every Wednesday, sometimes on a different link, just to keep you guys on your toes. But that's why we do these, is so we can share different ideas, different things that we learn, and give you guys the ability to like learn stuff from other teams. So you're not just seeing us all the time, and you're getting some other stuff. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you people take Amy up on her challenge, and I hope you keep me really busy this next week doing 3-way calls. I'm gonna start exiting stage left a little earlier on those calls, because I just like kind of like stay on there, and then because I like always felt awkward about how to get off, so I'd wait till they were done. I'd be like, okay, bye girls. So I'm learning all the things, and I'm gonna start leaving that call sooner too, instead of being the awkward weirdo on hold. But I hope this was helpful. We will post some notes in the $500 club group. I will get this recording on YouTube and I'll post that link there as well. But if this was helpful, make sure you tag your people in the recording, because I know I learned a lot tonight and I hope you guys did too. So enjoy your evening. Bye.